Champions are coming to Clash Royale, and we're gonna figure out which of these 3 champions is the best. Champions are a new rarity coming to Clash Royale, and you're gonna be able to unlock champions level 14, which I know a lot of people are gonna hate just because the champions look so good. You want to play them right now, and you gotta wait till the end of the game. But I kind of like this because now Clash Royale finally has an end game, and I've been asking for this for years now. It kind of reminds me of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, where after you beat the Kanto region, you have to go to the Johto region and basically play another game after you beat the Elite Four in the Kanto region. It was almost like a game after the game. Now level 14 means something. Now level 14 has a purpose, and that purpose is champions. So you can only use one champion rarity card in a Clash Royale deck. The first of 3 champions that are coming to Clash Royale is the Golden Knight. He is a 4 elixir ground melee troop, and he has very similar hit points and damage per second as the Valkyrie. At tournament standard, this will be 2,000 hit points and 177 damage per second. And now tournament standard is actually at level 11 and not level 9, which means everybody's gonna have to learn how much damage a spell does to your opponent's tower at level 11 now. Joke's on them, I never learned what it was for level 9. The second champion coming to Clash Royale is the Skeleton King. His hit points are a little bit more than a bowler, which is pretty beefy when you think about it, and the damage per second is a little bit more than a battle healer, which isn't that much. At tournament standard, this is 2,300 hit points and 112 damage per second. Also, he does deal a little bit of area damage, similar to a Dark Prince. The third and final champion coming to Clash Royale is the Archer Queen. The Archer Queen is a 5 elixir range troop and has a little bit more hit points than Electro Dragon, has the same attack speed as an archer, and has a little less range than a musketeer, but similar damage per second. Now, to compare these 3 mighty champions to figure out which 3 of these champions is the ultimate champion, we will have 4 categories, and first place in a category will get you 3 points. Second place will get you 2 points, and third place will get you 1 point. So starting off the battle, let's start a little easy, and let's start with the appearance. The Archer Queen looks kind of meh to me. She looks like a big archer with a crown and a crossbow, and maybe I'm a little biased just because I hate the Firecracker, and I hate Expo decks, which usually use the Archer, but the Archer Queen, I don't know, she aight. But the Skeleton King, boom! This is what I'm talking about. This dude looks intimidating in the arena. He's huge. You cannot deny the Skeleton King looks amazing. But does he look like Prince Charming from Shrek?
Cherry flavored. Want a taste?
Golden Knight might be my favorite champion of all time. Also maybe my favorite card in Clash Royale of all time, just because he looks like Prince Charming from Shrek. Also, I love the sound he makes when you play him in the arena. For appearance, I'm giving number 1 to Prince Charming himself, the Golden Knight. Number 2, going with the Skeleton King. And number 3, Archer Queen. I ain't no simp. Champions also have abilities, but, and this is a big but, the abilities cost elixir. So you can use 1 elixir, and the Golden Knight, aka Prince Charming, will dash towards an enemy unit that's 6 or less tiles away. And if there's another unit that is 6 or less tiles away from that previous unit, it will dash onto that unit as well for a total of 10 times. And you can use this ability every 8 seconds. So the dash itself is a little weaker than the Bandit's dash, but it can dash a total of 10 times in a chain, similar to the Electro Spirit. So this ability is pretty much a Bandit fusing with an Electro Spirit for 1 elixir. That's the equivalent of skeletons. And would you rather 3 little skeletons or a fusion Electro Spirit Bandit hybrid of justice for 1 elixir? Not only that, but he's invincible the entire time he's dashing. Not only that, when you use his ability, it increases his walking speed, maybe making him more viable in bridge spam decks. Not only that, but he can also dash onto your opponent's tower as one of the 10 targets in his dashing dash. But he can also dash onto your opponent's king tower, activating it. This sounds pretty broken, right? Well, I think it might be. I think it is. This dash will be very useful to deal with any ranged troops behind your opponent's big pushes. And the dash can be used to fully take out archers, skeletons, goblins, firecrackers, or maybe it can be used to finish off troops that have already taken damage. It can also perfectly counter a goblin barrel. I see Prince Charming's dashing dash almost like a small spell, being able to take out a lot of low health ground units very effectively, similar to maybe a log. Overall, this ability is very good. The Skeleton King has a pretty insane ability as well. His ability is called Soul Summoning, and for 2 elixir, you can summon up to 20 soul skeletons. That is 5 more than a graveyard for 2 elixir. The number of skeletons spawned depends on the number of troops that fall in the arena while the Skeleton King is in the arena. This includes your troops and your opponent's troops, and even if a troop doesn't fall in the arena, the ability will summon a minimum of 6 skeletons. So if you play a skeleton army and it gets taken out, well, that will instantly charge your Skeleton King's ability, which could be a great card to pair with the Skeleton King in any Skeleton King decks. This ability can be used every 20 seconds. So if you think about the ability as a whole, the Skeleton King is basically a walking graveyard, technically better than a graveyard, for 2 elixir. What? It does what you expect, and it can take a tower quicker than anything I've ever seen before, ever in Clash Royale. I like that you can use the ability before the Skeleton King gets over the bridge so the souls can tank for the Skeleton King, or you can use the Skeleton King to tank for the souls so you can be a little bit more dynamic with the ways you attack. A little side note here, if you summon souls with his ability, these fallen souls don't count as souls that have been fallen into his next ability. Did that make sense? One negative here is the Mother Witch, and one good Mother Witch can turn every single soul skeletons into cursed piggies, and one good Mother Witch and you will probably lose the game. But don't be mistaken, this ability, what? The Archer Queen's ability is Cloaking Cape, which is similar to her ability in Clash of Clans. For 1 elixir, you can use the Cloaking Cape to turn your Archer Queen invisible, but also increase her damage per second by 200% for 3.5 seconds? 200%? What? That makes her damage per second 675 for those 3.5 seconds. That is almost double the P.E.K.K.A, which has the highest DPS out of any unit in Clash Royale. Well, not including this roasty boy over here. But also, don't forget that she's invisible. And unlike the Royal Ghost that once he attacks, he re-emerges from his cloak of invisibility, she stays invisible. So the only ways that you can really deal with her are maybe using a Mega Knight's deploy damage or using a spell. Technically, a lightning will take her out. And if you play the Archer Queen for 5 elixir and you use the ability, which is a total of 6 elixir, lightning will be an even trade for the Archer Queen. So if you can get anything else, a tower, another unit, we might be in a lightning meta if the Archer Queen is taking over. Choosing which of these abilities is the best is not an easy decision. They are all insane and borderline broken. Honestly, they might all just be broken. I'm gonna go with the Skeleton King as number 1. Number 2 is gonna be the Archer Queen, and number 3, let's go with Prince Charming the Golden Knight. Yes, the Skeleton King's ability is 1 additional elixir, but I feel like his ability will be the biggest game changer and have the biggest impact in Clash Royale. You will probably be able to make a deck around this ability, or maybe new archetypes will be born because of this ability, where the other 2 abilities are more support abilities. The Archer Queen's ability is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. The Archer Queen is like a very close second here. The champions! For the next category, we got the classic head-to-head mono-y-mono. In the left corner, starting off, we have Prince Charming, and in the right corner, we have the Skeleton King. Out of the gate, it looks pretty even at first, but then the abilities come in and Prince Charming can fully counter the Skeleton's ability and finish off the Skeleton King himself. Victory, Prince Charming! Next in the red corner is the Archer Queen, and in the left corner we have the Skeleton King. Even if you play the Archer Queen right on top of the Skeleton King, eliminating the range benefits, well, right when the Archer Queen uses her ability, bye-bye Skeleton King. So the Archer Queen really does hit harder than a P.E.K.K.A. Wow, 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 wow. Last but not least, we have Prince Charming versus the Archer Queen. And exactly what you expect happens. Looks like Prince Charming has to win the bag until the Archer Queen uses her ability and Prince Charming loses worse than he does in Shrek 2. So the winner and champion of the head-to-head is the Archer Queen. Number 2 is going to be Prince Charming, and number 3 is the Skeleton King. Come on, man. The champions! The last category we will be testing these champions on is deck versatility. One very important rule with champions is that you can only have one champion in the arena at a time. And when the champion eventually falls, it becomes the last card in your cycle. This is insane for cycle decks because if you have a champion in the arena, your deck now has 7 cards in it instead of 8, which is pretty nutty. Let me explain. If you're playing a deck, let's say 2.8 Hog EQ cycle, well, if you use a card, you'll have to play 4 additional cards to get back to the card that you just used. This is the way Clash Royale has always worked, except now. Because Prince Charming does not go back into your deck when you play it, now you only have to play 3 additional cards to get back to the card you just played. So if you played a Hog Rider, now instead of having to play 4 cards to get back to your Hog Rider, you only have to play 3. So that means more Hog Riders, more Expos, more balloons, more miners, more rockets, more goblin barrels. The possibilities here are limitless, and I don't think Clash Royale will ever be the same game after this. This is game-changing, not only for gameplay, but also deck construction. Cycle decks have always been a dominant archetype in Clash Royale, but with the introduction of champions, we're going to see cycle decks' power rise to a level that's unprecedented in the history of Clash Royale. Not only do cycle decks become better because of champions, allowing them to cycle quicker, but with cycle decks, you'll be able to also cycle back to your champions faster, and from the sound of how broken champions are, the more champions you play in the arena, the better. So this is why I believe champions will be the best in cycle decks. So what decks are Prince Charming going to fit well into? And as of right now, I can see Prince Charming fitting into a lot of the popular current meta cycle decks out there. So in 2.8 Hog EQ for the Valkyrie, or for 3.0 Expo for the Knight, or in Log Bait for the Knight, even in minor wall breakers for the Knight or Valkyrie. And honestly, you could probably use it in 2.6 Hog cycle or Balloon minor Loon cycle for the Ice Golem. And with the increased speed he gets from his dashing dash ability, he could be viable as well in bridge spam decks. You're probably gonna see Prince Charming in a lot of decks. So what about the Skeleton King? What decks will the Skeleton King fit into? I can see the Skeleton King fitting in well with a lot of the current meta bait decks. These decks use a lot of swarm units, which will be able to allow the Skeleton King to get maximum value from his ability. So maybe in Log Bait you can use the Skeleton King for the Knight. In Mortar Bait you can use it for the Knight or the Rascal. In minor wall breakers you can use the Skeleton King for the Valkyrie. But I also think the Skeleton King will be a very interesting addition to graveyard decks, especially in that medium tank role. This will now allow graveyard decks to have 2 very solid win conditions, where if you use a graveyard and your opponent is forced to deal with this graveyard, as long as the Skeleton King is in the arena, his ability will fully charge. And you can unleash another devastating graveyard, technically an even bigger graveyard of 20 soul skeletons for 2 elixir. What? I don't think the Skeleton King will fit into as many decks as Prince Charming, just because it seems like his ability gets more value depending on the deck or archetype. But there is one thing I do know, and I'm calling it that King Yard, it will be a thing. And a scary thing. So for the Archer Queen, what decks are we going to see the Archer Queen fit well into? Well, this is a little tricky because technically every deck needs some way to deal with air units with either a ranged troop or a unit that can attack the skies. And in most decks, people usually use 2. And in the past, when one air attacking unit was better than the rest, you practically saw it in every single deck and incorporated into every single archetype. This happened when the Executioner got buffed and was broken. This happened when the witch got buffed and was broken. This happened when the mother witch got buffed and was broken. This happened when the skeleton dragons were released and were broken. And we also saw this happen with the musketeer, the electro wizard, the ice wizard, and even the hunter. For some metas, we have seen these cards be the best of all the air attacking units in the game, and because of that, we saw them incorporated into pretty much every archetype and used in pretty much every deck. For this reason, I expect the Archer Queen to have insane deck versatility, because if it's as strong as we suspect, and if it's going to be the strongest air attacking unit in Clash Royale, we will see it probably in every single deck in Clash Royale. Champions will be insane in cycle decks, but they're going to be really good in a lot of the Clash Royale decks. But I think the Archer Queen will be a card that we see in pretty much every deck. So for that reason, number 1 will be going to the Archer Queen, number 2 will be going to Prince Charming, and the 3rd spot will be going to the Skeleton King for deck versatility.
The points are in, and the winner and ultimate champion of Clash Royale is
the Archer Queen! The Archer Queen is the winner of the best champion in Clash Royale with 9 points. Coming in second with 8 points is my favorite, Prince Charming, and number 3 is going to be the Skeleton King with 7 points. I honestly do think the Archer Queen will be the best of the new champions being released into Clash Royale, but they're all pretty insane. And personally, I have never been this excited for an update. Welcome to Clash Royale 2. Let me know who you think the best champion is going to be, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out this video over here. It's my newest video. I'll see you guys in that video. Deuces.
Champions, the champions, the champions, the champions.